It's not even hypocrisy anymore. I think it goes to a new level. I think it's corruption. And I think the news media and many in our political life have just flat out become corrupted. The Republicans are actually trying to take on Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, the major portions of the budget that we all know we have to take on. But really, honestly, the political cowardice is coming from the Democrats and from the White House, who see this whole thing as just a game of political rock throwing, of name calling, again, because it's their natural environment. It's where they operate best. They find that as long as they can make sure that it just stays a mud fight, that they're going to do well, because the press always favors them. The press is just as corrupt as anything I've ever seen. I've never seen such a corrupt press. I mean, I've just taken to calling the press corps in Washington the Praetorian Guard. They're here to protect Barack Obama's flanks from the slings and arrows that might afflict the mortal politician. But this politician is just receiving not cooperation, but protection from the news media like we've never seen before. And I mean, I really think none of this can happen without a corrupt media. I don't think this president could be getting away with what he's getting away with, and the Democrats getting away with what they're getting away with, were it not for not just a cooperative media, but a corrupt media. Look, institutionally, the media is liberal. Can we just say that out loud? Can we just acknowledge that? I mean, will Katie Couric admit that now at long last? Can the media do away with the first big lie that they're nonpartisan, and this is the first big lie of the news media, that they're unbiased and nonpartisan? They're not unbiased and they're not unpartisan. They are, and they have for a very long period of time, been biased, and now they've crossed a line, and I think that they're just utterly corrupt. You'll look at the landscape of the media in Washington and in New York to varying degrees. The mainstream news media at the highest level stocked with Democrat political operatives. I mean, George Stephanopoulos, who used to host This Week Without David Brinkley, is a Clinton administration official, and he was given a bigger job as the host of Good Morning America. He is a Clinton administration official, and when this president seeks out media to interact with, he can pick and choose from former Democrat political operatives that are there to hold his towel for him while he says whatever he wants. Everything goes unchallenged in this administration with the current news media, unless you're a Republican, of course, in which case you're crucified for even the vaguest perception of impropriety, which is the standard for Republicans, the perception of impropriety. But when it comes to Democrats, I mean, let's face it, the White House spokesman was, until a heartbeat ago, the Time magazine bureau chief in Washington, D.C., who dropped his lucrative career to go serve this president, first as communications director for Vice President Biden, and then for the President of the United States. When he left his position as communications director for Vice President Biden to become the White House spokesman, that vacancy in the Vice President's office was filled by a Washington Post reporter who fled her lucrative career in journalism to go work for the Obama administration. In the front row of the White House press corps, you've got Chip Reed, who is a former staffer for Joe Biden on Capitol Hill. All right? Next to him is Chuck Todd, who is an NBC chief White House correspondent, was a former staffer for the man who was previously the most liberal senator on Capitol Hill, Tom Harkin from Iowa, before Barack Obama came along to displace him. But the NBC chief White House correspondent was a staffer for Tom Harkin. His wife is a Democrat political operative. When George Stephanopoulos left This Week Without David Brinkley, he was replaced by Christiane Amanpour, who is married to a Clinton administration official, Jamie Rubin, who was the spokesman for the State Department there. This is not a revolving door. It's a dinner table. They're all at the same table. They have common goals, common dreams, common aspirations. So many reporters in Washington from news organizations, print and electronic, dropped their careers and ran to the aid of this president to take jobs propping him up and supporting him. And the reality is, of course, that those who don't go into the government but stay outside of government do him just as much good serving in the media, serving this president. It's almost like, you know, the movie The Omen, when the Damien Thorne character is surrounded with minions who are there to help him that have been tasked. I mean, it's almost that ridiculous. But it's not, again, it's not a revolving door. It's way beyond that. It is corrupt. It's almost like Soviet-style or Iranian-style journalism that we're experiencing right now, where the leaders can do no wrong and all that are surrounding them are there to serve. It's appalling. It's shocking. The mainstream news media likes two types of conservatives. The first is the conservative that they think reflects badly on conservatives. That is too hysterical, that's too angry, that's too over the top. That's the first kind. The second is David Gergen, and that's a wishy-washy, I work for anybody, on the one hand, on the other hand, spend half their time criticizing Republicans and half their time criticizing Democrats. You know, Joe Scarborough is another good example of that. Another wishy-washy rhino who spends more time attacking Republicans and conservatives than he ever would attacking Democrats and liberals, which is why the mainstream news media can accept him.